Hey everyone, it's Professor Fiction back again, doing another short form tier list style video. This time I am going over the Monster Association cadres. For those of you that remember from a while ago, before I did my more up to date, in depth S class ranking, I did a short tier list just to explain my opinion on their placements because I had a feeling that when the Monster Garou saga concluded, um, things might be different. And if you look at both of those videos, you'll see just how right I was because the rankings in those videos are very, very different. So I thought with season 3 being announced soon, or season 3 being announced recently and the trailer having dropped, um, anime onlys will pretty soon get to experience the cadres on screen. And I have them all lined up here. I have a couple outside of the cadres, like Sage Centipede and Psykos Orochi and Golden S. It's technically not a cadre, but you understand what I mean. Mainly talking about the main villains of the Monster Garou saga, barring Garou, because he would obviously need a whole video to himself. Case in point, I just wanted to kind of give my opinion on the topic for now. When the anime catches up, I will probably do an in-depth video on them so that I have enough actual content to show their abilities instead of just showing a bunch of manga panels. So, yeah. The first thing you need to know about the cadres is that discussing them is way different than the S-Class. Most of the S-Class kind of fight by punching and kicking or, swinging around a sword, shooting energy beams, pretty basic stuff like that. Most of the cadres have more varied and unique abilities like super regeneration, telekinesis, ninja skills, light orbs. So there's definitely more room for interpretation in how their abilities might interact with each other. For example, Nyan might be more suited to taking down Homeless Emperor because Nyan can slip around and evade his attacks. And since Homeless Emperor is just a normal guy physically, it's possible Nyan could just cut him up. But that doesn't mean that Nyan is actually stronger than Homeless Emperor's blast, So that's just an example. So this is definitely more open to interpretation. And I'll go over those interpretations more in the in-depth video. So kind of consider this a briefer, or I guess maybe longer, depending on how much I end up talking about. So now, first things first, this is going to be important for discussing F and D tier specifically. This is going to be important for discussing F and D tier specifically, but here we have the strongest demon tier. And here we're just going to go ahead and put Bug God and Royal Ripper. There's a handful of demons that are probably stronger, and we'll just go ahead down here and grab Phoenix Man. These are pretty much the 3 strongest demons in the entire series. And they are important for this video, or for this list, because the cadres are ranked by power, and the cadres are ranked above the demons. So for, let's say, we can actually go ahead and get right into F tier. For some of the more featless cadres, Nyan and Gums, we don't really know that much about their power except that they're above this tier. They're above the high demon tier. Like, for example, Nyan, all he really does is take down Puri Puri Prisoner, but Puri Puri Prisoner himself is not the most impressive. So, you can refer back to my S-Class video for that. But he and Gums would pretty much just scale up from these guys for the most part. Now, there are differences and a couple intricate scaling differences for them that I will talk about now. But these two are pretty much the weakest cadres. So, the main differences between them, well, Nyan feat-wise, like I said, just fights Drive Knight and Puri Puri Prisoner. He does have the ability to slip between objects to attack blind spots and stuff. That does give him an advantage against some cadres. However, with Gums is also pretty featless. He just kind of beats up Pig God, and Pig God himself is very featless. But the reason I have him slightly above Nyan is the fact that Genos fires an incineration cannon inside of his guts, and he's actually able to regenerate or recover extremely quickly. And Genos is around the same level as Drive Knight, possibly a little stronger, which I explained in my Genos versus Drive Knight video. And as we all know, Drive Knight beat up Nyan. So Gums basically took an above Nyan attack to his organs and regenerated. So even if Nyan was to slip into Gums' body and try to cut up his organs and stuff, Gums would either just tank it or regenerate. So he's kind of a hard counter to Nyan. We also see how Acid was able to do some damage to Nyan when he gets smaller. And Gums' entire stomach is obviously composed of very powerful acid. So, yeah. That's how I think an interaction between they would go. If you think Nyan is overall better because of his ability, then he can go a little bit higher. But I do think he is the weakest cadre, unfortunately for the cat. But like I said, F tier, all they really have is they are stronger than these guys. That brings us to D tier, where we can just talk about Fuhrer Ugly. Fuhrer Ugly is just basically way better than Gums. He is way stronger, way more tanky, all of the above. So when Bang shows up to fight Gums and Fuhrer Ugly, Bang instantly kicks a hole through Gums. Instantly kicks a hole through Gums, no difficulty, and ends up needing a super water stream combo barrage to do some damage to Fuhrer Ugly. So Fuhrer Ugly is probably a lot tankier than Gums. And then we also see that Fuhrer Ugly can break Tank Top Master's arms with one punch, whereas Gums, using all of his strength in his teeth, Tank Top Master can still stop it. So Fuhrer Ugly is just way stronger and way tankier than Gums. He also has the ability to get stronger the uglier he feels. So, yeah, overall, way better than Gums. Which then brings us to, where is he? Transformed Phoenix Man. So Transformed Phoenix Man would obviously be way stronger than this version of Phoenix Man, because during his fight with Child Emperor, we see that this Phoenix Man cannot do any damage. He can't even scratch one of Child Emperor's barriers. But in his transformed form, can shatter 5 at the same time. Completely shatter them into dust, or like fragments, like a broken glass. So he has to be at least 5 times stronger than this, if not way more. Like, imagine the difference between not even scratching a wall to turning it to dust. And he did that 5 times over. So the difference between him and these guys is these guys are slightly or a little bit above this tier. They are somewhat above this tier, whereas Phoenix Man is way above that tier, if that makes sense. Between Phoenix Man and Fuhrer Ugly, is hard to say. I don't think there's a definitive way to say one is above the other. Phoenix Man obviously has a lot more hacks. He can shoot ranged attacks, he can fly, he can use heat, he can use ice. He has a lot more variety or versatility, whereas Fuhrer Ugly is kind of just really strong. So You guys can pick which one you think is stronger. I would personally say Phoenix Man. I'm also not counting Phoenix Man's ability to evolve when he dies. So keep that in mind because I feel like it's too unquantifiable. We saw at the end of his fight with Child Emperor, he actually got weaker when he died. So we don't know the upper limits of what his ability is capable of in the current canon. Now, obviously, in the old canon, Phoenix Man, where is it? Phoenix Man got a lot stronger, and I might discuss him at the end, but we are talking about the current canon Phoenix Man only, not the original version. But that is D tier. And these are the easy guys to talk about. Now, after that, we have C tier. And that brings us to... we can talk about Black S now. Black S... kind of just... He doesn't have the most feats. He's kind of a jobber, as weird as it sounds. Because most of his appeal comes in his numbers. But even then, he was able to overwhelm Atomic Samurai, Base Form Bang, Genos, and other heroes of that caliber, which is kind of around the same level as this. Atomic Samurai was stated by Darkshine to be capable of defeating half Monster Garou that fought Rover and suppressed Orochi. And Child Emperor was terrified of suppressed Orochi. So that Garou should be better than Phoenix Man. And Black S is fighting guys that would destroy that Garou. So probably a bit better. He would probably just outlast these guys. So, yeah. Then we have Vomit Fear Ugly. Now, Vomit Fear Ugly could be a bit higher, and I'll get to that with B tier. But Vomit Fear Ugly is obviously way above normal Fear Ugly, but he is capable of matching and damaging Darkshine and pretty definitively clapping Atomic Samurai as well, who I just went over is kind of above these guys. Darkshine also bodied half Monster Garou, that should be above these guys. And Darkshine was also way too strong for Black S to do anything at all without fusion. And Darkshine was obviously way too powerful for Black S to do anything without fusion. So Vomit Fear Ugly should be above him. However, Vomit Fear Ugly has bad stamina, and if he doesn't consume protein fast enough, he will die. So Black S was originally planning on defeating him by surrounding him and letting him waste away. So if Black S is able to do that, then Black S could beat him. But Vomit Fear Ugly was also planning on using Black S as an infinite stock of protein and basically eating him forever. So if Vomit Fear Ugly is able to pull that off, then obviously he would win. So it just depends on which one of them can do that first, I guess, or which one can convincingly pull that off. I'd say in terms of power scaling, Vomit Fear Ugly is a lot better. Black S kind of just caps at that Atomic Samurai level. Even then, that's kind of hard to say because it's obviously matchup based, but still he can overwhelm people of that caliber. So I would put Vomit Fear Ugly higher. Now we get to the more complicated part. B tier. This is where things are going to get a little controversial. But right off the bat, pretty self-explanatory. Golden S and Homeless Emperor. They both beat up Vomit Fear Ugly really badly. Golden S is just the fusion of Black S, so he's naturally better. Pretty self-explanatory there. They are like above Vomit Fear Ugly level definitively. Now this is where we get into some drama. Next up, I have Hellfire and Gale. These two fought Flashy Flash while he wasn't at full power. And that will be more impressive as we get to the next tier of characters. Well, or these two fought Flashy Flash while he was holding back or didn't have his weapon. And when Flashy Flash didn't have his weapon, they were able to tank his attacks. They tanked the Flashy kicks and were just stunned. And they were able to draw blood from Flash. Flash was also overall very impressed by their abilities and their speed specifically. And this is, of course, notable, seeing as Flash would go on to fight half Monster Garou, or full Monster Garou, who one-shot Vomit Fear Ugly. So these guys should at least be able to beat up Vomit Fear Ugly, bare minimum. Maybe one-shot him, but I won't take it that far. They should at least be in this tier. If you think they're weaker than Golden S, that's fine. If you think they're weaker than Homeless Emperor, that's fine. But all of these characters are kind of in that above Darkshine tier as a rule. Now, I'm going to make another tier here. This will be B+. Now, the thing with B+ is that depending on your interpretation of Bang versus Darkshine, B could go higher than B+. And you'll see what I mean in a minute. I'll explain it more as I go on. But right here, we will put Elder Centipede, Gouketsu, Overgrown Rover, and Gyoro. So the reason these guys are above these guys is because B tier is more or less what I call above Darkshine level, or above Vomit Fear Ugly level, whereas these guys are above Silver Fang. And Silver Fang is able to clash and combat and keep up with the same Garou that one-shot this guy. So Bang should be about on par with B tier, and these guys are above Bang. Gouketsu is more debatable, so is Gyoro, but these guys should be above Bang. This is because Elder Centipede and Rover straight up are too powerful for Bang to do anything. It's stated by Bang's brother Bomb, who is equal to him, that they cannot defeat Elder Centipede. They then use an even stronger combo attack on Rover, and it does almost no damage. Now, as for how Gouketsu fits into this, Gyoro was straight up shocked that Gouketsu could even be defeated, whereas she had contingencies in case Elder Centipede was defeated, or she expected Elder Centipede to possibly be defeated, whereas Gouketsu had her straight up flabbergasted. And Gouketsu actually even thinks that Gyoro underestimated him. So Gouketsu could actually be even stronger than she thought. And then Rover was so durable and so strong that Gyoro thought that even if Elder Centipede and Gouketsu were defeated, that it would be impossible for anyone to take down Rover. And Rover also scared Bang quite a bit. And then you have Gyoro. Gyoro thinks that all of the Cadres would lose against Tatsumaki, but that she could defeat Tatsumaki. And since Gyoro can sense energy levels like a Dragon Ball character, she should know how strong the Cadres are, and she would know that she is stronger than they are. Now, the part where this gets complicated is obviously, that is if you think that Bang is very strong, which I do. As you guys kind of saw in my S-Class ranking video and Bang versus Flashy Flash, I do think Bang is in that high or above Darkshine level alongside these guys. I think he's relative to Flashy Flash, who beat up these guys. So if Bang is around this level, these guys should be up there. But I know that there are people that interpret Bang and Darkshine to be around the same level, and there's even some people to this day that still think Darkshine is stronger than Bang. Which, if you think Darkshine is stronger than Bang, then B would go above B plus like this. But obviously, I think it goes more like this. That said, there is still some contention. For example, some people think that Gouketsu, his statements don't apply. They think they're just generic hype statements, in which his only scaling, you can even call it that because this is also kind of a hype statement, is that Genos thinks he's really impressive, and Genos has seen suppressed Tatsumaki and Darkshine in action, so Gouketsu should at least be above Darkshine level. He might be around the lower end of B tier, or maybe the top of C tier. I do take these statements a bit more seriously, so I do have him in the B plus tier. Gyoro is also a contentious one, seeing as many people actually think that she lost to Half Monster Garou, or that Half Monster Garou surpassed her. Now, that is a whole debate. However, I've more recently come to believe that Gyoro was holding back and was trying to help Garou grow further, and was trying to save her strength for when the S-Class showed up, and if she really wanted to, she could have annihilated Garou. But if you do think that she's weaker than Half Monster Garou, she would go around there. But I think there are a lot of statements that consistently put her around here. She is very confident that she is above the Cadres entirely, which would put her above Rover, Gouketsu, Elder Centipede, Homeless Emperor, Black S, and so on. So I have her there. But like I said, B and B plus are very debatable. I think you could have a really good, interesting debate about every single one of these characters. Alright, now we get to some juicy stuff. Class A, or A tier. Now, let's, why is my mouse like that? Okay. Now right here, we can put Orochi. Orochi is stated to be stronger than all the Cadres by Gyoro, aka Psykos. Gyoro actually thinks that even if Orochi fought King, Orochi would win. And Gyoro thinks that King one-shot Elder Centipede. And she also thinks that Orochi is unstoppable even after getting her Gyoro puppet annihilated, and the fact that Gouketsu was defeated. So Orochi is high up there. He also sees Saitama pretty much one-shot Rover and just wants to fight Saitama. So he's not scared of someone who could one-shot Rover. He's interested in them. So above B class for sure. Now this is a really controversial one. But Psykos. A lot of people think that Psykos is garbage. Or that she shouldn't even be in the same tier as Orochi. And while she's definitely weaker than Orochi, she's definitely not stronger than him like some people like to believe. She is definitively above everyone we've talked about so far. She states herself that she is far superior to Gyoro. In fact, she makes Gyoro seem insignificant by comparison, and as I already went over, I think Gyoro is leagues above everyone so far, or at least on the same tier as B+, and way above everyone so far. If Gyoro is above the strongest character we've talked about, she should go in the next tier. And something else that people tend to forget, I think, is that Psykos, while she was losing to Tatsumaki in their fight, could still kind of make Tatsumaki flinch a little bit. And while that's not the most impressive feat in the world, it is when you consider this same Tatsumaki could hold off Orochi. and yet Psykos can still make her flinch. So that is very notable of her ability. Next up, we have Platinum S. Now, Platinum S could either be at the top of this tier, or he could honestly be as low as Rover level. But I do subscribe to him being around here, though I'd say around the bottom, which Psykos over Platinum S, you know, that's a controversial take. But the main thing that makes Platinum S so impressive is his speed. Platinum S was able to force Garou to evolve to a level that he could eventually fight Sage Centipede. And he also pushed Garou to grow massively faster and stronger in their fight. And Garou at this point was able to keep up with Flashy Flash, which is around the higher end of B plus and B tier, if not above it entirely. So Platinum definitely has the best speed scaling we talked about so far. Now, the question about Platinum S is his AP, or his attack potency. Now, at the very least, we do know that he's above Golden S. It is stated like 15 times that Platinum S is just stronger than Golden S. Some people like to interpret it that Golden S is stronger and Platinum S is faster. This is never stated. This is never implied at all. It is just stated that Platinum S is stronger. And he is called the Ultimate Fusion. Now, why the Ultimate Fusion would get weaker, I don't know. But he's just stated the strongest. So he should at least be above B tier in strength. And then his speed scaling is top tier. Now, if he has the power to take down someone like Elder Centipede and Rover is unknown. But his speed scaling is top tier. The reason you could argue he's above Orochi is the fact that he pressured Gyoro to be able to fight Sage Centipede. And Sage Centipede is S tier. We can go ahead and put Evil Natural Ocean up here as well. But Sage Centipede is S tier. And the reason Sage Centipede is S tier is because he is the prophecy completed of Orochi, or he is the resurrected version of Orochi, or essentially God summoned Sage Centipede on the altar where Orochi was meant to sacrifice himself. God also summoned Sage Centipede and Evil Natural Ocean with the intent of fighting Saitama. And Saitama had just one-tapped Orochi. So these guys should for sure be above Orochi. And yet, Platinum S could pressure Garou to evolve so much that Garou was able to scare Sage Centipede. So, Platinum S pressing Garou to that level is very impressive, but that version of Garou is also much stronger than Platinum S. So, it's hard to say how much it applies, but regardless, I would put Platinum S in this A tier either way. But if you really want to downplay him, he'd be around Gouketsu level. And then, like I already said, Sage Centipede and Evil Ocean Water were summoned to fight Saitama. Saitama beat up Orochi. So obviously, God thinks Sage Centipede and Evil Natural Water are stronger than Orochi. And then we can just put Psykos Orochi up here. Pretty self-explanatory. Psykos Orochi is the fusion of Orochi and Psykos. Should be way above them. The reason they are above Platinum S is because when Genos sensed Psykos Orochi just casually firing a continent slicing energy blast, Genos said that the energy was unmeasurable. It was beyond what he could sense. Whereas he was able to sense Monster Garou, who was able to damage Platinum S. So Orochi is at least physically or stronger than Platinum S in terms of raw power, bare minimum. And is also probably just way too powerful for Platinum S to do anything. Between Orochi and Sage Centipede and Evil Natural Ocean, you could say one way or the other for any of them, but they're all in that kind of above Orochi territory. So cherry picking one above the other, I think is a little headcanon-y. I might dive deeper into that subject at a later date. But yeah, that's my opinion on the Cadre's ranking. Oh, I guess we can talk about... Do I want to talk about Phoenix Man? Pre-redraw Phoenix Man is weird. Too weird to talk about. I'm not going to talk about him.